And bearing in mind, I'm going to show you a trick here. This is going to be the feet, that's going to all fade off, that is. That will all fade off. I've just dampened it like that to make sure it does. I'm going to put a little landscape in there, and then I'm going to put this in later and I'll show you how I do the trees and the effect of those. So we're going to get a little bit of mauve again, like that, with a touch of yellow, like that. And we'll sample it there, so that's okay. Put that on like that, and that landscape there, like that. With this nice little brush in, I'll add a little bit of darker as I get back here, like this. A little bit of... What we're doing is enhancing and toying around with darks and lights. See, I get darker there, and I'll get even darker as I leave that light bulb. Darker again, because I'm going further back into the painting. It's very important that you get your lights darker and lighter, like that. Now you wash your brush like this, wipe it, that is where you toy around with it. Pick off like that and go up a little bit there like that. And there's not too much wet in my brush now, and I'm getting it more lighter there. See, the paper's buttling, and it's good to have these bristles like this, and I can throw a few lights in there like that, wiping my brush, sticking it like that with a few lights, like that. And this is a bit more shadier, like that. Now this one here, I touch a little bit of yellow on it, and I can throw a bit of that yellow around here too, like this. See that yellow coming through? A bit more yellow, look. And it's a semi-dry brush, it's not wet, it's nearly dry, these brushes. And I'm introducing that light coming across with that yellow. And when I've done that, wash my brush out completely, get it a little dry. You can see the yellows I'm introducing into there. And I just, when I've dried my brush, after washing it clean, I just touch these little spots like that to enhance the yellow coming through, like that. Now I'm messing around here like that. Now the light, I'm introducing light into the painting, like that. So I've got this little light bit here all introduced here. I'm going to darken that off a little bit, because this is most important to get these little lights and darks right. A bit more there, drusen. Get a bit of mauvish going, darker, like that. And throw also a little bit in there like that, just to subtly join them onto each other like that. All at the bottom is always darker, bottom of the landscape. A few trees at the top, like that. Just a little tree, that's why it's good to have this little roundish brush. So you can do these things. You break them, never leave an hard line. Everything's nice, soft, gentle and subtle. So as we go back again, it goes darker again, like that. Like that, just do that, just splot it on that way like that. Just so it doesn't get no straight brush strokes. They all, what I leave out looks like bits of trees and things like that. And when you've done that, see how the light's fading off? Well, we'll clean the brush again and just introduce a little bit more yellow with a very semi-dry brush, just like this, look, just to blend them in a little bit, like that. just subtly, like that, just touching the end of your brush like that. And a little round brush, look, like that, just to say the light's coming across. You've got to point it out to people that when you're introducing that light, you've got to let it be known that is the light you're introducing, so that people, say I go higher there, and I leave this dark and just a couple of little bits here, like that. Like that. Now, it's got to be a shadow in that one there, so we're going to introduce a little bit of shadow there very quickly. And it's a bit more wetter this time, but it's not so dark. So we're going to introduce a bit of that grey mauve. And I'm sure that's what you'd see, leaving a little bit of light here and there, like that. So what we've emphasised here, we've introduced the dark, we've introduced the light, and we've got no hills or mountains yet, but we're going to put something in there. Now that's intense light there, so we're going to put something like a powder blue, like that, a powder blue, just to say it is landscape there, just very lightly, like this, just to, as a distance, like that, just a little bit. It's simple as anything. If you make painting simple, that's what it will be, simple. But if you're going to get nervous and struggle with it and everything else, then the painting is to show up in the painting. It will show up in the painting. That's getting a bit wet, so I'll give myself a nice clean piece, just to damp the wet out again. And I'll go over it again like this, look, just to introduce that light on the top part of what I've just done, like that. I'm always playing on that light. There's a bit of light in the distance. Just now you might think to yourself, oh, what's he going to do now? Now we've done all this little bits here and this and that and the other. Put that bit there just subtly. Get rid of that line a bit with my dry brush at the bottom. Now I'm going to make some mud flaps. I'm pretty famous for mud flaps. I've done a few in my time. So we'll get this little, well, we'll get this brush, this big brush, a Roy Mac. Look at that, beautiful Roy Mac brush. And to get mud flaps in there, you'd want it lighter here and darker there. Working on light again, light, darker, darker, darker and darker, to give the painting some depth. So I shall get some more mauve going. Just here is going to be darker now, so these are my mud flaps, like that. Like that. I'll leave a few water puddles in there, like that. But never leave any lines of water puddles leading out to the painting. If you do that, and you put it in a show, you'll sell the painting next door to it, because it's like a finger, psychologically, it's like a finger pointing out to the painting next door. So you never leave no puddles or any dominating things. Just a few little, and leaving out the puddles like that, as in mud flaps. So that bit's darker. I'll put a few, just break it up a little bit like that. Now this bit's going to be lighter here. So, and I could rip this up, it doesn't matter. Nothing's serious until you finish the painting and you say it's serious and you're happy with it, then it becomes serious. So I'll get a bit of yellow and a bit of that red and a bit of that there. I'm going to make it like a... So you can throw a bit of colours about and you don't know what you're going to end up with.